Good morning and welcome to Qigong Live Online. This is the beginner's class today, and we're going to do a concept of Qigong. We're going to introduce that to you, and I'm going to give you some exercises with this particular concept. Before we do that, we're going to bow to each other. Now, if you're online at the moment, if I don't know, because I can't see who's online, but if you'd like to say hello to me, then I can see you and I can say hello to you. But if you're not, I'm saying hello to you anyway. And for the people who are going to watch this afterwards, and whoever's watching this right now, welcome to this class, and hopefully you find it useful. So stand with that side, roll back onto your thumbs. Bring your left hand underneath the right hand on top. Two thumbs touching together in the middle. Gong, make a fist with your left hand, cover it with your right. Bring it towards your heart, and then down to your physical center. Down to your lower dantian, which is a physical center. Very good. So today we're going to talk about the center column. The center column, or the central axis, it has a couple of different names depending on who likes to quote this idea. We talk about it as in, like, you think of the earth has a north and south pole, and there's a center axis that goes through the earth, and the earth spins around the center column, or the center axis point. So there's like an energetic pathway where it's spinning around, the ball spinning around from that particular axis. Well, we have the same thing in our body as well, from the north pole on the top of our head to Hui at the bottom of our torso, and we have a north and south pole as well. So energetically, so the world we were created with the same energetic principle of the yin and yang, heaven and earth connection, and the same with the spiral of the planet. Yeah. So there's a few exercises that do that. So the understanding of that is, it comes in from Barkway. Barkways do 20, it's around the very top of your head. And if you look from the side, it's like the apex of the ear, the top of your ears, and you go straight across the top, and the point's up there. But now that's not always the case, because depending on a person's ear shape, that can be slightly different. But if you go to the highest point of your head, you can't go too far wrong, and that point's right in the very, very top. Now, Barkway means 100 meeting points. That's like on a globe, all the longitudinal lines, not that there are longitudinal lines on the globe, but you've always seen those lines that go around the globe, and they all go up, and then they meet on the top, and the very, very top of the North Pole, and they all go down and meet at the bottom. Yeah? These longitudinal lines, we have the same sort of concept in our body, where all our energy goes to this point, and they call it 100 meeting points, because that's where they all meet in the top of your head, and they all meet at the bottom, which is Hui Yin, which is Ren 1, between your anus and your genitals, the perineum, where your pelvic floor muscles are. Right down the bottom there's a point there, and so this is the top of your torso and the bottom of your torso, and your legs sort of hang out underneath it, but your mass of your body is the top and bottom point of that. So Barkway on top of your head, Hui Yin, which is Ren 1, between the genitals and your anus. Yep. And so we have these north and south poles. So we have the idea of a concept of we have a pole, an energetic pole, like an axis. I don't like to call it axis, I like to call it a center column. It's like an energetic column, because it goes out through the top of your head too, and goes out through into the ground. And when we rotate, we turn on that point. Yep. It's like a horse at the Ferris wheel that has the big pole in the middle of it, and it's hanging onto the pole, and it's right in the center of the horse. Well, this is the center of us, where we have this idea of this energetic connection through our head string to heaven, and through the bottom into the earth. And we see it, and we can rotate around it. Yeah. We rotate it smoothly around it, and it just moves. It doesn't move to the side, it just stays where it is. It's fixed, and we like spinning around it. We spin around the pole internally. I hope you get what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure it's pretty self-explanatory. Yeah, and so we're rotating around that idea. And when we're rotating around it, of course, we don't move. Our body doesn't lean to side and backwards, because we can do that, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to have it fixed at this stage. You can have it mobile, so it does rotate from different angles, but we want to just stay at the stage with the one straight through the center, into the ground, into heaven, and we're spinning on it from side to side. Now you can drive the turning motion of your body through different ways. I can do it by using my shoulders. I can move my shoulders backwards and forwards, and then spin on the center column by generating it through the shoulder. I can generate it through the hips by turning my hips from side to side, and then it's still spinning around the center column. I can even do it from my knees and get my knees to turn backwards and forwards to rotate the center column. Yeah. Good. So that's what it looks like. And the idea of that, the perfection of that, is what that feels like inside your body. It's a concept in your mind to understand movement. And that rotation rotates from that. whether you're doing it from your knees, your hips, or your shoulders. The turning effect on the center column is quite bizarre, and you can have that expression. There's a couple of things that it does. First of all, it keeps you quite precise. It stops the wobbling. You don't wobble from side to side. You like a top, when you spin a top and it spins perfectly from the center point of gravity right in the center of the top. But when it runs out of power, it starts to wobble. Well, we don't want the wobbling thing going on. We want the precision of the turning of the top at full speed, and it turns with precision. Yep. Okay. So we'll do a couple of exercises with that just to show you the concept of how that works. We do it in warm-up exercise. When we do the warm-up exercise, we're doing the one for our spine when we're doing the turning like that. And you can feel that going from side to side and go right around the back. And you're turning from the center column. Yep. I'm moving my hips from backwards and forwards. And I'm spinning around. So the center column's static. I better explain the different versions of this. There's the center column, it's static. It doesn't move. It's solid. And we're spinning around it. Yep. We're spinning around it. It's not moving. It stays exactly where it is, and we move. We move and it stays where it is. Yep. The other one is that it moves with us, and that as we go, it turns around, and from a pivoting point up in heaven and into the earth, it turns and it turns with it, and it's fixed to us. So as we turn, we're turning and rotating on this. So there's the two different parts to understand of that. One is it's what I call a fixed center, where it's moving from a fixed point, and the other one where it has a floating center when you're spinning around, but the pole's static and we're spinning around it inside. It's inside us and we're revolving around on the outside. I'm sure you understand what I mean. So we have those two concepts of it. Yep. Depending on what exercise you do, depending on which one you're going to use. So we exercise both of the concepts of those in lots of the exercises. So we'll do an exercise from, pick a nice easy one. We'll go to turn and gaze at the moon from the Taiji Qigong system. And we'll understand. So the hands start at the bottom. The fingers aren't touching. You got to go to the right side first. And we turn. As we turn, we just turn to the center column. And the hands come up. And we're looking through the hands at the back, we're looking up at the moon. We're looking through the gap between our fingers. Between our hands. Comes down the center. And then it comes back up. Your head's watching your hands. Turn, look into your hands, then come back to the center. So now when we're turning on the center column, so that the change weight, there's no weight change between your feet. And we're standing on our kidney points in both feet, so we don't have any weight. I'll better set this up a bit better. We're sitting on the kidney points, your toes touching the ground. You're standing on your kidney 1 point, which is at the bottom of your foot. Your heels are touching the ground, but there's no weight in them. You're sprung. And to do that, I've got my knees slightly bent. So I'm standing on my muscles. And so I'm standing on the balls of my feet, toes in the ground, heels just resting on the ground, but no weight. Good. So when I turn from the center column, I'm turning and the weight doesn't change. I can feel the movement in my hips and my knees and my ankles. I can feel my ankles moving as I turn. And you can feel the ligaments and tendons tightening up and the fascia moving. You can feel it moving back the other side. But the weight doesn't change on the kidney point. Both kidney points, 50%. 50% on that one, 50% on that one. The weight doesn't change, but you can feel the articulation happening inside my ankle joint. You can feel the articulation in your knees, your hips, your spine, and your neck when you're doing this exercise. But the kidney point doesn't change. Good. Now, for this particular exercise, you're going to have a fixed center. The center's fixed, and we're rotating around the center. We come up, and we come back to the ground. And we're rotating, but the center column doesn't rotate. It just stays where it is. And we're rotating around it. Good. Bring your hands down. You breathe in when you come up. Look into the hand. Breathe out when you come down. And feel what it feels like. It's the concept. It's a concept in your mind to understand. Feel like you're rotating around the center column. Turning back to the front. Good. Comes up. Rotating through the center column. Comes up. Rotate through the center column. Good. So you get this feeling of the rotation's happening, the center column's not moving, we're spinning around it. It stays static and we're spinning around it. And it's sliding, we're sliding around inside it. Good, I'll give you one of the opposite one. So this comes from, we'll stay in the Shu because there's lots of exercises that have this principles in it, either or. And we'll go into the Shu where one of the exercises has the other principle where the whole thing turns. And that's Windmill turns in the breeze. So we're going to start by, I'll show you what it looks like first, because you're going to have your head down, so you're going to see what I'm going to do. The hands come up, it turns to the top, turns around, comes down to the side, and you bring your hands down the bottom like a big windmill turning, and that comes up. Good. So I'm going to show you how the more, it looks like I'm just doing big circles with my hand, but there's more to it than that. Good. So stand back up, so now you're watching me, so you can see what I'm going to do, right? So when I'm turning from side to side, the center column's turning with me. It's not fixed anymore. It's actually coming when I move. It's actually the center column's rotating as well. Now I'm fixed to the center column because it's a fixed center. The other one was a floating center. This one's a fixed center. Now, as I turn, it turns with me. Yeah. So the center column and me are fixed together. We're locked together. So when the hands come up, the hands come to the top, and they come up to the side. I'm facing that way. I'm facing towards, in this case, I'm facing towards the right. And I'm going to turn the center column. The whole thing's going to turn around together, and the column and me are turning all the way around. Good. And then I'm going to let it go. I'm going to bend down, cross the bottom, come up the other way, come all the way to the top, stop at the top, and the center column all moves around one way. Good. And then let that go and just let the flexibility come down. Center column is working differently down the bottom. I just want to do one piece of this. Comes up to the top again. Stop. The whole thing moves together. Good. Then comes down to the side. Now, of course, when I'm down here is my center column, or my center column's bent, it's got a big half circle in it. Yeah, it has, because it's flexible, my center column. It comes around, it spins around the bottom, and then comes back up again, because it has this flexibility. But then when I get to the top, then the whole thing turns right around. Good. And it bends forward. The center column bends, because as I said, it's flexible. I'm going to change direction at the bottom, come up from the bottom, come all the way up to the left-hand side, get to the top first, then rotate the whole thing around, center column and body together, and then take the rigidity out of it, make it flexible again, comes down, turns around, and comes back up. There's lots more to this exercise than you can imagine, but at this stage we just want to practice this rotating of the center column and our body at the same time, so we know what that feels like. And comes down, comes across, comes up, rotating from the center column. Good, and then comes down. We'll do the last one. Now across the bottom, we come all the way up and we do a half a circle, so it comes up over the top, turn the whole body, stay standing up this time and bring the hands down, and then back, bring your hands back down in front of your body and return the extra chi back to the lower dantian. Very good. I'll explain what I meant about that. After I've done exercise where we're moving energy up and down our arms or in our legs, when we finish it, we bring all the surplus chi and we put it back into our physical center, back into our battery. We don't need it anymore. We can just use it. We use it for later. And so we do that. And when we do this exercise, you bring it back. You bring your hands down. You bring it back to the lower dantian. You do this in your mind. It's your intention to do that. Good. So these are the two parts. The two parts is the fixed center, where the floating center, we did first, is when we are turning and the center stays where it is and we float and we revolve around the center. We're revolving around the center. Very different expression. And the second one we did was when we're in the center of turning at the same time, we're all one piece. There's no separation. The difference being is when we have a floating center, it's spiraling from heaven and heaven and earth is moving with us. So we're spiraling, and the point in heaven's turning, and the point in heaven. But when we do the fixed center, the heaven and earth point doesn't change. It's locked into heaven. It's locked into the ground. It doesn't move, and we're turning around that. So it's a very different concept. One's very static and one's very flexible. They're both right in their own way because they have a different purpose. There's not one right and one wrong. They're just used differently in different exercises. So any Qigong exercise you do, when you're doing a rotation somewhere, unless you're bending over, if you're bending over, then something else is happening because a part of it's to do with the rotation of what's happening inside your hips. But if you're standing up, turning from side to side somewhere, you're going to have that exercise. So if we think of just to finish, if we think of this exercise, which is a very standardized exercise when you rotate from side to side. Yeah. And it's part of Tai Chi forms, it's part of warm-up exercises, and it's really, really common in the Tai Chi and Qigong world as a warm-up exercise. And all you're doing is rotating your hips. Yeah. You rotate your hips, and then the hands just hang out. So if I stop my hips, my hands just keep moving until they stop. Yeah. And I'm moving my hips, and my arms move because my hips are moving, not because I'm moving my arms. Yeah. The arms are just hanging. So it's a hip movement, not an arm. I'm not doing anything with my arms at all. They're just hanging. I'm just spinning them. Yep. Good. So if we have the understanding of this exercise, we can do this exercise two different ways to understand the principle of this as we're doing it. So we can have a fixed center. Well, we'll have a floating one first. Usually it's actually, we'll do it in the fixed center. So as I'm tuning, the center column and myself are tuning together. We're locked together. I'm rotating on the connection to the ground through Huiyin and through heaven, and we're all tuning together. And I'm locked into that. And heaven's, it's like it's got the hands above it on the when you it's a funny analogy. So you know when you see people lighting fires and they're rubbing the two sticks together, and the stick's spinning and it creates friction, and the friction creates that lights the grass because the friction gets so hot it bursts into flames. Yeah? So we're like the same thing. Well, we're doing the same thing with the stick, but we're not doing it. Heaven's doing it for us. Heaven's tuning us one way and tuning us back. We don't quite go that fast because we'd be going really quickly otherwise. Great lot of friction. We might blow up. But with tuning, the idea that something's tuning the column. It's tuning the center column, and we're rotating because the center column's been moved. Yep. And so it's been driven from outside of our body that's creating the movement. So when we're doing this exercise, we think of the head string moving us and the center column moving backwards and forwards, and we're part of the center column, and something's driving the center column. Somebody's doing that at the top end. However you like to see that. Anyway, understand the principle. Good. So that's that one when it's been moved by side. So if we change that and just stop, and this time have it a floating column, so it's not actually doing that. Now move. And let the column stay where it is. And we're moving around the outside of it. Yep. And the column's not moving at all. It's locked in with heaven and earth, and we're spinning around it. Now we're choosing to spin on that axis. Where the other one was spinning us, we're choosing to do this, and the column is just a connection between heaven and earth, and we're spinning on the column. And you can go into all the philosophical understandings of why those two exist, and they do in the world in more ways than one, but understand the energetic principle of it. So I'm doing this now myself. I'm choosing to turn, but I have a connection between heaven and earth that's keeping me upright. There you go. It's deep and meaningful for the day. Anyway, so have a beautiful day, everybody. And if you have any questions about that, please ask. Just message me any questions if you're not sure about that. And we can all go back and watch it again. If you weren't sure, go back and watch it. We'll put it up later today. Once we bounce it down, and you can have a look at that and work out. And so you get the experience of what that feels like. Yep. Okay. Enjoy it. So it's a very important principle of movement, and definitely inside Qigong, definitely inside Tai Chi. Very good. Have a great day, everybody. We're going to bow at the end. Roll back on your thumbs. Left hand underneath, right hand on top. Two thumbs together. Gong. Fist with the left hand. Cover with your right. Bring it towards your heart. And then down to your physical center. Good. And then have the idea of the feeling that we're connected to heaven and connected to earth while we're standing here right now. And something outside of us has an energetic connection to us. Yeah. And guides us. There you go. Guides our center column. Have a beautiful day, everybody. Bye-bye. Just step back and we bow to everybody that did in the class, and everybody's going to do this class afterwards. I hope you found that useful. And as I said, if you have any questions, please write them down, send me a message, and I'll answer them for you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.